The invocation be led by Vice Mayor Rizzi, the pledge by Councilmember Biggs.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege of being gathered here today to do the city's business on behalf of our constituents. We ask that each of us be guided by you in the decisions we make that will affect others and not by any personal agenda or ego. We ask to be humble in our disagreements and that we never forget we are here to serve the people of this beautiful community. Father, we ask for your protection for all of our first responders, those serving in our military, and all of their families. We ask that they be brought home safely each and every day. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Wilson,
Here.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Present?
Councilmember Biggs.
Here.
Councilmember Evans.
Here.
Councilmember Gremmel.
Here.
Councilmember Nesser.
Present.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Here.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. As a reminder, all items under the consent agenda will be approved with one motion. If a council member wishes to remove an item for further discussion, the request will be made prior to approving of the agenda, and the item will be moved to new business. Do I have a motion for a consent agenda?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs.
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, awards and presentations and proclamation. I ask Chief Pulley to start this one out, please.
Mayor, members of council, it is an honor to be here tonight. Vice Mayor Rizzi, I appreciate your invocation, your prayer. You know, when you said those words to watch over our first responders, that's one of the reasons we're here tonight. Because of prayers like yours, prayers like that from the community is why we're here tonight, to honor some of our brave men that have been here for many years, that are here tonight because of prayers like that. First, I'd like to invite retired Chief of Police Tom Kelly to come up here with me to present these awards. I think it's important we invite Chief Kelly up here because I wasn't here at this time. Back early last year on March 16th, come on up here, Chief Kelly. On March 16th, I was working for another agency, but I live out here, and I remember driving home, and I drove by the scene on Apache and Chrisman, and it was just full of police cars. It was on the news that an officer had been injured, and nobody knew to what extent that officer was injured. The actions of a couple of our officers made sure that our officer is here tonight to celebrate this moment with him and his family and with all of you. And so to start out, I'm going to present two awards first. And there's actually supposed to be three, but one of our detectives is not able to make it tonight. So would Detective Frank Nichols and Detective Jesse France come up, please? And I'm going to read this so you can understand a little bit about what transpired, even though you all probably know, but I want to make sure that you understand the gravity of this. On March 16th, both Detective France and Detective Nichols and Hooper were responded to 10250 East Apache Trail, Mesa, Arizona, to assist with the apprehension of suspects found in a stolen vehicle. At that location, multiple Apache Junction police units engaged the suspect, who began ramming police vehicles in an attempt to escape. During the course of events, officers fired their duty weapons, and Officer Brian Brugman was severely injured. Detective France assisted Officer Brugman after he was injured, and when responding units arrived, he and the other detectives loaded Officer Brugman into a vehicle to get him to Mountain Vista Hospital. These detectives' decisive thinking and ability to take command under pressure was integral in saving Officer Brugman's life during this incident. All of you, your actions are a credit to the Apache Junction Police Department, the City of Apache Junction, and all of law enforcement. The Apache Junction Police Department presents you with a life-saving medal for your life-saving efforts in saving a human life. On behalf of the entire City of Apache Junction and the Apache Junction Police Department, it is an absolute honor, Mayor, City Council, that I present these awards with retired Chief Kelly to honor these individuals, and I couldn't be more proud of them. They represent what law enforcement's about. They represent the training, the multiple hours, the vacations that they don't get to take, missing the birthdays of the loved ones, staying late. This is what you see, and this is what we get, and this represents everything good about law enforcement. So that being said, Detective Frank Nichols, I'd like to present you with that, as well as this medal here for life-saving.
Thank you. Thanks, Chief.
Detective France, again, this here is this certificate, as well as the medal.
Thanks, sir.
To both of you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it, Chief.
Thank you. Want to grab a picture? Way too tall now.
You can come up here, Al.
Thank you. Now, I would like to ask Officer Brian Brugman to come up here. He's going to make me look tiny.
Yeah.
So,
He looks different.
come on over here, Brian. Now, I can tell you, I've only known Brian for a few weeks, but this man here lights up the Apache Junction Police Department. When I walk into the station, Brian's talking to everybody. He's bringing comfort. He brings compassion. He brings strength. He brings everything you want in a quality police officer. He represents everything good about Apache Junction and the police department. And that is because he was raised by an amazing mom and dad who are also here to honor him and recognize what happened to him. And again, Vice Mayor Rizzi, with your prayer, I truly believe it is prayers like that that keep many of our men and women in uniform safe. I know that's to be true, and I appreciate that. I want to read this. On March 16, 2021, Officer Brian Brugman responded to 10250 East Apache Trail, Mesa, Arizona, to assist with the apprehension of suspects found in possession of a stolen vehicle. At that location, multiple Apache Junction police units engaged the suspect who began ramming police vehicles in an attempt to escape. During the course of events, officers fired their duty weapons, and Officer Brugman was severely injured. As a result of injuries sustained during this incident, the Apache Junction Police Department is presenting you, Officer Brugman, the Purple Heart Medal. The Purple Heart Medal is presented to personnel seriously injured during the performance of their duty under honorable conditions which occurred on March 16th. Officer Brugman, you are very deserving of this, and I couldn't be more proud to call you one of my officers, and I couldn't be more proud to wear this patch and badge of the Apache Junction Police Department, specifically because of you. I appreciate you, and I just want to say thank you, and I'm glad you're here with us today. Mayor and Council, I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to be here, to take a few minutes of your time and of everyone's time to honor these brave men. And there were others that were involved, and we'll recognize many of their actions later on at our award ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Chief, I just want to share while we have so many officers here, there's a group of us at Table of Grace, and I know many churches throughout the community that pray for you guys every day and your families. We want you to know that you're in our prayers. We love and appreciate you, and we thank you all for your service.
Your Honor.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I believe Councilmember Biggs.
We're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Okay, well, I wanted to say one thing before we continue on. Just for everyone's information, the city manager is not able to attend tonight, but he is on our phone, so he's listening in. He's at a meeting, and so therefore he can't attend in person, but he's attending by phone. Thank you, Bryant. City manager's report.
As Mr. Mayor, I'll be filling in for Bryant, although he is on the phone. He asked me to take lead on this. Let me just open up one other presentation. We have one other recognition tonight, as you see on the agenda item. And let me first echo my thanks to these great officers and our whole department. They all really do give everything for the safety of this community, and we appreciate them so much. Larry Kirch, we're here to celebrate his service to the city as well tonight. Larry is retiring soon. I think we have about 10 more days with him. Larry, why don't you come up here, and you can stand and be embarrassed for a couple minutes, because I'm going to share some pictures and just brag about some of the accomplishments that he's been involved in during those 7 years. These are just some of the pictures, of course, very embarrassing. Thank you, Larry, for those great memories.
Hard-working man.
Ty looks familiar.
We've been through many things the past 7 years. COVID, of course, through the past, 18 months or longer now. And he provided great leadership. This picture I wanted to show, I know it's small, and I can't confirm who took that picture, but I believe the vehicle was stopped at the time. Sorry, this was me. This is Larry doing some maintenance along our right-of-way on a Saturday morning at about 9 a.m., and I thought this picture really epitomized what Larry brought to our community for the past 7 years. If you recall, we just recently put a new sidewalk in this very location, and we have a resident in the community that's disabled and was having trouble with this current section as shown in the picture, and this was probably back in September of 2021, I think. Yeah. There was a news story about all sorts of stuff, and Larry represented us well, but this is what I think he represented us most of all, and what this community about, and that's service and public service. You can see it overgrew in that path there. And on a Saturday morning, I was driving home from a different place with my family, and I wasn't out here doing this, but who was? Larry Kirch, and he was trimming up the path so this resident who had disabilities could get through easily until this new sidewalk came in. So thank you, Larry, for your example to us. If you don't know or you haven't heard him say it before, if you see something, say something, but Larry brought in, if you see something, do something. And I thought that was a real important thing. Just to mention a couple more things that Larry was involved in. Oh, there's a zoom-in shot.
Is he fishing?
That's my best side. That's my best side.
Not fishing, but I think it was a difficult branch. Oh yeah, there's some more pictures. I'm almost there. So here's some big accomplishments, but the things that he was involved in, and all these things had a lot of people involved in it, including city council, including lots of staff. And I've said this also about Larry before, every great orchestra needs a great chorister, right? And he has led us through a lot of big deals and big projects, inclusive of, not on this, is probably one of the largest annexations. He helped us through and helped city council, of course, lead to that decision you made. and all the planning and all the efforts and all the things that went into that of over 6,600 acres that we annexed, correct? But you all probably remember these projects well. But there's more than just these big long-term planning type projects. This is a list of all the commercial projects that came in while Larry was here for 7 years. Again, it's not that he necessarily brought all these each in, but he oversaw the staff and helped all of us through the process, including the city council, of anything that had to come before you for these great commercial areas in our city. And a lot of you will remember, and this isn't all of them. This is just a sample. Lastly, residential projects and growth. He led a great staff, a great team through 1,300 approved units for residences in this city, and still to come 984, and that's not inclusive of the 10 or 11,000 down south that'll come over the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. So this is just a recognition of you, Larry. Thank you for your service to our community. You're a true public servant. We appreciate you. We'll miss you. Thank you for the vision you brought and for the 7 great years we had. And I do have one small gift here for you of recognition I'll bring up to him. This is just a plaque of recognition for Larry. And it states, Larry, Development Services Director, and grateful appreciation for years of outstanding service and devotion, 2014 to 2022.
Very nice, thanks, Matt.
Does he get them?
I think Larry wanted to share some thanks of his own as well.
If you don't mind. Jennifer, if you would set the timer for 25 minutes?
Call to the public.
30, I think it's 3 minutes, isn't it? Yeah. Well, at first I read the agenda, I thought it said condemnation, but it actually is commendation.
It is
So I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, not.
I appreciate that. Bryant's on the phone. Thank you, Bryant, for giving me the opportunity to work for the citizens of AJ. I remember, I think you said it like 4 or 5 times. They said, do you still have enough, gas left in the tank? So he was making sure that I would stick through to the bitter end and get the annexation. At that time, we didn't know what was going to happen, but, you hire an old guy and wanted to make sure. And so I think we had to refill the tank a few times, but it's been a pleasure to work for the city. And Matt and Bryant, we work for a report to them, but I work for the citizens. We all, as planners, you do, we work for the citizens of AJ, and that's who we really work for. It's been awesome to work with Bryant and Matt, and my goal was to try to make sure that I didn't cause them headaches. So I hope that they could worry about another department and not our department, so that was always my goal. So by our nature, this department, we deal with some difficult and sometimes contentious issues, and I believe we handle them, in a professional manner. So I hope that continues for the department. I wanted to just kind of thank some people. We really have a hardworking team here in Development Services. I think some of those projects up there that were, you can take that picture down now if somebody can do that. So, we had, when I got here, the city had gone through this reduction in force, and I think the department had 20-some people. When I got here, there was 11 people. Plan Commission tests, we weren't meeting that often. There wasn't a whole lot going on, but it gave us some time to kind of get our act together for when, the big event of the state land happened. So, when the state land project emerged, Bryant ensured that we were ready and we were staffed up accordingly. So we're still adding more staff so we can handle the development on the development permit side of things. So the department looks totally different than it did 7 years ago or 2 years ago or even a month from now. We're still trying to hire 7 people, building inspectors and things like that. So we'll be up to over 30 people in the department, so just to be able to handle the onslaught. I did want to say I can't say enough about Rudy. Worked with Rudy a long time. So he's been a pleasure and honor to work with Rudy. And Sam Jarges, if you know Sam. Sam and Rudy got all these things done, thousands of projects, really. For 3 decades, Rudy has been here, 32 years. Rudy has trained 9 or 10 directors, I believe, and probably hundreds of planners. That's what Rudy says, training planners since 1989. That's kind of on his bumper sticker. So I couldn't have done this without Rudy, and interns too. Rudy has like the best intern program in the state of Arizona. And we have a couple of planners here today that are here working for us because of Rudy. So anyway, I'll be back here when you guys honor Rudy because he deserves it. So I just kind of want to talk about the rest of the team. How many minutes do I have left? So we really have a solid team with Rudy and Dave Zellner and Victor, and the city's fortunate to have them as division directors. Sydney, Kelsey, Nick, they really have been the bulwark of getting a lot of projects done here. And we probably, again, I think since I've been here, we've had over a dozen interns through ASU, and I think we have a great program. The customer service side of things, I think we've gotten a lot better as well. We went from 3 part-time permit techs, and they did code enforcement and permit techs at the same time, and Dave Zellner said, you know, we really got to provide customer service. We really got to get customers serviced at the building counter with permit techs, and then have code officers go out and take care of that. Tracy Post has been here, I think, 17 years. We had 1 building inspector through all of this after the recession. So Tracy was out there doing 30 inspections a day, and so he's got some help recently with Keith coming on board. So it's just a tribute to those guys for sticking it out. It's been a tough time as everybody kind of went through these lean times. Code compliance is a very critical part of community building. I mean, I view it as part of the big picture of revitalizing the city and neighborhoods, and it is important. So I think recently you've gone around and you've seen some cleanup of these camps and vacant properties and just dumping and things like that. So I think that they're doing a tremendous job. One of the things Bryant used to call me all the time, you'd go over to the Fry's and there'd be the donation bins, and there'd be a mattress and a toilet and all this stuff out over by the Fry's, and Bryant would call me and then we would go get it cleaned up. But Dave put together an effort with Public Works to get rid of as many donation bins as we could. Remember in front of Shopper Supply, people were kind of living in front of those donation bins, and people would just, instead of going to the dump, they went to the donation bin. So that was a concerted effort. So Bryant, I'm glad we got that one thing cleaned up. So I think the city is in great shape with a dedicated group of people here. One of the things is thinking ahead, which is what we're supposed to do as planners, and I consider you all planners too, is that we do a lot of things as planners, planning and zoning commission members, council. We make far-reaching recommendations, and you guys make the decisions, ladies and gentlemen. So what will the city look like 20 years from now? Just did the centennial. AJ's going to have a centennial in 66 more years, I think it is. So I hope the city can galvanize its effort. You know, in the general plan, we have that area that's to the north and east. That's 12 miles of conservation area. And I'm hoping the city can galvanize some momentum to formally protect that 12 square miles that everybody thinks protected today, but it's not, to acquire open space from Meridian all the way to Silly Mountain. I think it's going to be great to acquire the rodeo grounds, but I don't think you should stop there. I think you really got to look ahead and see how you can get the rest of this state land and BLM, because really that is going to be the hallmark of the city, I think, in 50, 60 years. You'll have the only city that has this desert greenbelt around you. And then you saw what I said on the video in terms of a downtown. I think it's important as the city matures. You know, is the city going to have a town center? Is it going to have a downtown for folks? And so I think the city's done a great job over the last decade or so, but I think you have to redouble the efforts and figure out how the city can move forward with having people move to a community. They moved here for the open space, but I think they also want to see those amenities that a downtown can eventually bring. So anyway, it's been great. Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Larry. We'll be back tomorrow.
We'll do it again tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Back at it.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Larry.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you again, Larry, for leading a great team. We sure have great staff here and great directors, don't we? A lot of great devoted people. And with that, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, that concludes the city manager's report.
Next time, tell us to bring the Kleenex.
Yeah, I know.
Al,
Over here.
and we'll back up. Go ahead.
You got it.
Well, that's a tough act to follow. Good evening, everyone, mayor, members of the city council. Al Bravo, Public Information Officer for the city of Apache Junction, and as our departing Development Services Director mentioned, he spoke during our State of the City, so I wanted to make sure everybody out there in TV land knows that they can still see our great State of the City event that we held last Wednesday at the Performing Arts Center at Apache Junction High School. You can actually see a whole live stream of the event at our YouTube page, which is at youtube.com/cityofaj. If you did miss our wonderful event, Mayor Wilson talking about a lot of stuff, and then, of course, the members of the mayor and council actually turning the tables and asking questions of our senior leadership. It was a very interesting video and a very interesting night, and I hope you guys get a chance to see that. Again, lots of events coming up. Wanted to make sure everybody was aware. It is really that time of the year. This weekend kind of kicks off Lost Dutchman week, if you will, on Saturday and Sunday. Sunday mostly, of course, is the 21st Lost Dutchman Marathon, the most picturesque marathon you could ever see. We wish everyone well. Our friend Liz Langenbach from Parks and all of her fabulous staff are going to put on a wonderful event on Sunday. And then, of course, next weekend is Lost Dutchman Days, rodeo at the rodeo grounds, carnival, and, of course, a parade on Saturday morning as well. We hope to see everyone out there next weekend. A couple of the things that Mayor Wilson wanted to bring to our attention. One of our community leaders, Charlie Weiss, held a shredding event just over the weekend and collected a bunch of stuff. He did it out of his new location over on Ironwood. And it reminds us that we have one a collection day, the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day. We hold it twice a year, once in the fall and then once in the spring. And the one in the spring is coming up on Saturday, March the 5th from 8 until noon. Heather Hodgman, did I get that right? Oh, good. Saturday, March 5th, 8 to noon. It's held, of course, at the Public Works Yard on Baseline, and you can see all the details on the city's website, as always, www.apachejunction.az.gov. And with that, those are your announcements for February 15th, 2022.
Okay, and I missed one, so I'm going to have the regional intergovernmental updates. Does the council have anything they want to bring up?
I'm good.
Nope. Nope. The only thing I'm going to say is the aspect that today I was at the Mesa State of the City and listened to their presentation that they did, and it was very interesting, to include some ice cream. So they cooled us off after they heated us all up. And it was Mayor Giles did a real good job, and it was very interesting what our neighbors are doing and the growth that they are seeing. And one of the interesting things I thought was in it that caught my ear very quickly was he said that they have now 2.6 jobs per resident in the city of Mesa. So they've done a terrific job in bringing in a lot of business opportunities for our area. Okay, public hearings. Presentation, discussion, and hearing considering a Class A bingo license for games to be held at Sundown RV Resort. Jennifer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before council this evening is a request for a Class A bingo license filed by Mr. Kevin Osborne. He is a resident at Sundowner RV Resort. Class A bingo licenses are strictly for social and recreational use only. They are not for fundraising efforts. That's under a Class B or Class C. All the proceeds that are paid toward the Class A when you get your cards and whatnot, all of the funds, the receipts, are given away in prizes. Any funds left over from the game, they are taxable, but it's the adjusted gross receipts on that. Mr. Osborne is here this evening if you have any questions regarding the license, and they have a letter from Sundowner RV. They will be conducting the games in their rec hall, and it'll only be Wednesday nights from 7 to 9.
Any discussion from the council? Does the applicant want to speak? Don't see any movement, so I guess not. As a public hearing, would anyone else like to speak on the item? Again, I don't see any movement, so I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the application for Class A bingo license submitted by Kevin Osborne for games to be conducted within the Sundowner RV Park Resort be recommended for approval to the Department of Revenue.
Second.
Moved and seconded, roll call?
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Presentation, discussion, and public hearing on ordinance number 1522, amending the City Code, Volume 1 by adding an existing Chapter 3 Administrative Article 3-7 Procurement Procedure in a new section 3-7-19 Job Order Contracting Construction Services. Joel.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is a continuation from last night. This is the public hearing portion. I put on your chairs the amended ordinance, changes in the title. It's the correct title now, 3-7-19. That will be the new section that will be created. And then on page 2 of 3, subsection D, the increase will be from $1 million to $5 million for job order contracts. And it's a public hearing, so I have no other comments.
Any discussion from the council?
I just have a question for Joel. In the motion, do we have to state the change, or because the change is in our paperwork, you know what I mean? Do we have to say approved and adopted with the following amendments?
Yeah.
Because it was originally posted at the 3 instead of the 5.
Well, actually, the title was correct. It's just ordinance, it's approval of 1522. And Jennifer has the correct title, so she will read the title when the motion's made to read by title only. And then after that will be in the motion for hopefully approval. So no, you don't have to.
That's all I needed to know.
I could cite an ARS section too if you'd like. No? Okay, I won't.
Okay.
Any other discussion? As a public hearing, would anyone else like to speak in the audience? I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that ordinance number 1522 be read by title only, and the reading of the entire ordinance be waived.
Second.
Moved and seconded, roll call?
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance number 1522, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Apache Junction, Arizona, amending Apache Junction City Code, Volume 1 by adding to existing Chapter 3 Administration, Article 3-7 Procurement Procedure, new Section 3-7-19 Job Order Contracting Construction Services, repealing any conflicting provisions, providing for severability, and providing for penalties.
Okay, do I now have a motion for the main motion?
Your Honor, I move that ordinance number 1522, as read by the city clerk, be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, roll call?
Councilmember Gremmel?
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously, Your Honor.
Okay. Request for cancellation of case PA-1-21, a request of hassle-free house buyers related to a private access on the Silver Drive alignment to facilitate a lock split, case number P-21-33. Nick.
We let Nick go home.
Oh,
I won't let my voice crack on this one.
He's
It's
back
not
out of
that
retirement.
emotional anymore. So this is a case that came to the council a few months ago. It was continued to a date certain, which is tonight. And the applicants have decided to not proceed with the lot split. This is an area that we did a city-initiated rezoning, I want to say about 2.5 years ago. So it changed the zoning and the setbacks that allowed these lot splits. However, Silver is like a private drive, and we really don't allow lot splits on private drives unless they get the neighbors to all agree. So I guess it was just a little too much effort for them to kind of get everybody together. So they've decided to not move forward with the lot split. So they're asking to cancel. I don't think the applicant's here, so.
Larry, if memory serves, is this the one that had the 5 around?
Yeah, the way to get into the property is from the north
Right.
down, yes, on
And there
Silver.
were like 5 properties that were
Correct.
going back on a maintenance.
And they already
agreement.
had some easements amongst themselves, but
Right.
they weren't, or they had kind of agreement, but nothing was recorded, and so we don't want to have another lot split on really an unmaintained private way.
So it now, I mean, knowing that they're looking to cancel that, it kind of seems like that was a good thought we kind of all had at that point to make sure that everybody's ducks were in a row at that point.
Yeah, most cities in their subdivision code, you can't even subdivide unless it's on a city right-of-way. So because we have all these, a lot of them are land divisions that happened whenever they happened, back when the county was in charge of everything and people just subdivided land, you have all these private drives. So I think it's prudent for the city we get one of these every couple of years, but it is a mechanism the city created to allow people to do that. But it also requires that everybody work together as a neighborhood to share maintenance. So, and it is a public safety thing too, so that people know that it really is a private drive. So I think I missed that meeting, but I think there was some discussion about what the sign should say, private drive on it, so.
Any other discussion? Is the applicant here who'd like to speak? See no movement. This is a public hearing. Would anyone else like to speak on this item? See no movement, so I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Your Honor.
Yes.
I move that the request by Hassle Free House Buyers LLC, case PA-1-21 for a private access way on Silver Drive alignment to facilitate lot split case P-21-33-LSM be canceled.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Biggs?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, we have no old business, so new business. Presentation to discuss on resolution number 2203, authorizing intergovernmental agreement with Pinell County for 2022 for the primary and general election services. Jennifer.
Thank you, Your Honor. So before council tonight is a resolution that would grant us the authority to contract with Pinell County for election services. They do the ballot. I send them the names for the ballot. We work together on making sure everything is how it should read on a ballot. We did the general plan with them as well. We just need your approval so that we can contract with them for their services.
Okay, do I have any discussion among council? Yes.
I have a question for Jennifer.
Yes, ma'am.
I was speaking with Matt about this, but would you explain to us, I understand why we're entering an IGA with Pinell County. That's pretty obvious. But why do we do this specifically every time there's an election? Why isn't it done for, let's just say, a 10-year period?
In the contract that I do with Pinell County, they set a rate as to what it's going to cost me for the election, or per registered voter. So in August of 2020, we had roughly 23,000 registered voters. When we went to November, I had over 25,000, so I had an increase. So in the contract, they roughly tell me what my election is going to be. So that changes every time we go into an election cycle. The voters that I have in Maricopa County is so small, I think it cost me $150 for their services. I only had 150 registered voters at the time. So Pinal does everything with the ballots, and they conduct the election for us. It's held over at the recorder's office, but we would not know the cost 10 years down the road.
So it's not just a matter of per voter price.
So in August, we had 2,300 ballots mailed out, 23,000, excuse me. And in November, the price, so they bill me for each election cycle, and they bill me for different services. And then in 2020, we had the publicity pamphlet. That was something totally different. That's with a third party. So I apologize, I forgot your question.
No, it was just kind of, I was just wondering why there's no way to just build it in a, for example, a 10-year contract and saying they will let you know what it's going to be, and it might change from year to year, but still, why we have to redo an IGA every time there's an election?
Every time. So before I came out here, I believe it was in 2016, Pinal County used to break out every section of what they did for the election. And it was like 23 items. And there was a different cost per item. And then there's the mail cost. So they have no idea what postage is going to run, because that's increased 3 times in the last 2 years, 3 or 4 times. So we really don't know the cost. And when I came in 19, the election officer took to the Board of Supervisors a change in the cost. And so she upped what it would cost us per ballot. So the costs change all the time. We are now facing where the legislature said there will be special paper for the ballots. And I believe they have a sole source provider for this. There may be a paper shortage come time when they print ballots. So we may see the cost jump, in which case, once I do this contract, they are stuck with billing me whatever they said they were going to bill me. They can't hit me up for another 50 cents or $1 per voter because the paper is now so expensive. They have special security measures within that ballot paper that they're expecting.
Okay.
So it secures us from having an absorbent amount of election costs in case that does change.
And Jennifer, the city used to run its own elections years ago, but regardless, I mean, this is still a significant cost savings to the voters and constituents of Apache Junction, because we're kind of a larger pool. Pinal County splits that out amongst every community.
They do, they share the cost, but the other thing too is when we went to the consolidated election rather than our spring elections and we moved to the fall, our cost decreased significantly, almost in half. So according to my numbers at this point in time, just the ballots alone this year for August will run me roughly 19 grand. And we used to be at, I think, 35 for a primary. So it's a huge cost savings.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, do I have a motion?
Your Honor, I move that resolution number 22-03, approving an intergovernmental agreement between Pinal County and the City of Apache Junction for election services for the August primary election, and if necessary, the November general election be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, roll call.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs?
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously, Your Honor.
okay. Okay, council direction to staff. This is on the Health and Human Services Commission. Matt?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, on the February 1st city council meeting, you discussed this item at length. There was interest among the council members to put this on the council direction to staff for a joint meeting with the Health and Human Services Commission. Tonight is your opportunity to direct that meeting to happen, and then, as it says in the agenda item, select a date, time, location, and the agenda items for that meeting. So we'll take good notes and go according to your direction tonight.
Discussion among council. Do I have anyone comment?
Your Honor, my only suggestion was to try to keep the cost down, so when we pick our location, choose it wisely.
Is there a reason that that could not be done here? I believe in the past, the Parks and Recreation Commission and the City Council has met here and around.
Yeah, we've done it here in the council chambers. We've done it in the MGC, so you're all in a big circle. We've done it, yeah, you could use city facilities. It's totally up to you where you want to
That
do
would
this and when.
And that would allow that meeting to then be recorded, I would assume, if, as opposed to doing it like CAC or something, the MGC, something along that
Yeah.
line.
It would be easiest in this room for Matthew McNulty to have that recorded. But I think there's ways in the MGC that we could record it
The
as well. But,
multi-gen center.
yeah.
Mayor, if I may?
Yes.
The chair and vice chair for Health and Human Services Commission are here this evening as you requested. So if you move forward with maybe just comments that you want them to hear, they can take it back to their board as well. So whatever direction you want to head. But they are here to help either answer questions or just listen to your comments.
Or pick a date. That's right. Does anyone want to pick a date?
So I will remind you that they do have a set schedule. It's the fourth Monday of every month. So they are currently scheduled for the 28th, which is your work session night.
Yeah.
And they typically meet at 5 p.m. So that meeting is currently scheduled 5 p.m. Monday the 28th. We spoke with you about that briefly last time as a potential date and time.
That's the 28th of February?
Correct.
So they meet at 5 on the 28th.
I'm good with that.
I could make a 5 p.m. work on the 28th. I think
Yeah.
meeting on their schedule, it's much
Yeah.
much harder for them than it is for us.
Mhm.
So I would have no problem with that.
That works for me.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that. I'm looking.
Okay.
In the council chambers, does that work for the city council?
Yeah, it's okay with me.
Of course, that'll be in your motion, but just wanted to see if there's any further discussion on that.
I personally would prefer it in the chambers. I don't know how the other members feel.
I agree.
Okay,
Don't
do
they
I have a
usually-
motion then?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move.
I'm sorry to interrupt. How about agenda items? Are there anything specifically you want ordered on there, or is it,
Oh,
do you want us to put general discussion about? I think we need that direction for that agenda as well.
I think general was, for
Well,
me,
Joel,
general.
how would that work? If we do general discussion, does that kind of broad scope everything and allow us to be able to move forward? I mean, nothing's changing, at least from what I gather. I don't think anything's going to be changing for the upcoming 22-23's contract, potentially. I mean, there might be minor things, but I think we're kind of thinking long
Changing how many hours?
term.
I would, yes, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Councilmember Biggs, I think, I wouldn't just say, let's have a general discussion, because that doesn't tell the public anything. So I think you need to say, what is the purpose, scope of the code provisions and of the commission, and a discussion on council or public monies for nonprofits. I mean, you may want to include some language like that, because then you do get to talk about it generally, but you need to say specifically what you want to see on the agenda.
I move to do what Joel said.
I mean, some of the things that we discussed last time was nonprofits maybe can't, to keep them from just year after year after year applying, but maybe there's set amounts of time that they can apply, or I forget what was some of the other issues.
No, yeah.
And also, Mr. Mayor, the articles we're talking about are Apache Junction City Code Section, Volume 1, Articles 2-11 and 2-14. So I think you should be specific on that,
Got that.
at the very, very least.
Matt, are you taking notes?
Yeah. So this is what I have so far, as Joel explained. Agenda items would includes discussion on the purpose scope of the code provisions of the commission, and to the, and I may have written this down slightly incorrect, so maybe need some wordsmithing, but scope of the monies and the grant awards, and what how those are utilized by the nonprofits.
And also
And-
add the code section.
And then the code section, Apache Junction City Code, Volume 1, Articles 2-11 and 2-14.
I think 211 covers the purpose and the scope of the commission. We can add that to the title of the agenda item as well.
Okay.
So make that motion, Braden.
Yeah, Matt, can I?
Can you say so moved?
So moved?
You should have it in I would put it in a motion.
Okay. I move that the City Council of Apache Junction and the Health and Human Services Commission for Apache Junction hold a joint session on February the 28th, 2022 at 5 p.m. in the council chambers to discuss Apache Junction City Code
Volume 1.
Volume 1, Section 2-11 and 2-14, and to discuss the purpose and scope of the commission, the scope of the monies, and where they are used for and by the by the nonprofits.
Second.
Thank God.
Moved and seconded.
Who made
Roll
the
call.
second? I'm sorry, who made the second?
I did.
Thank you.
Somebody.
All right, Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser,
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs.
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, selection of meeting dates and times. Do I have a motion on the next meeting dates?
Your Honor, I move that an executive session at 6 p.m. for Monday, February 28th, and Tuesday, March 1st, be held in the City Council Conference Room located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard, Apache Junction, Arizona, and other meetings be scheduled if necessary.
Your question, we're meeting at 5.
5.
Are we,
Do we think it'll be longer than an hour?
I just noticed,
Well, you said February 22nd. This says February 28th.
no, February 28th.
28.
Okay, but you said February 22nd.
I thought I have 28. 28. He said 28.
Oh,
My ears must have heard wrong, because I heard 22nd, and it surprised
reading off
me.
this and it says 28th, so, but I don't know. We can
Yeah, I think it said this.
verify, but.
Can we do a live instant replay?
Matt
That's
could
Matt.
probably check in on that.
So if we do not hold an executive session on Monday, the 28th, all I do is I post a notice of cancellation to notice the public. So you can set an executive session at 6 p.m. for Monday and Tuesday, and if we don't hold it, I just post a notice.
Okay.
All right. So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs.
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. I'd like to remind everyone the call to the public is a courtesy and not required by law. It's a time for the public to express requests, communication, comments, and suggestions. Requests to speak forms must have been completed and handed to the city clerk before the end of the city manager's report. All issues shall be presented in a professional manner without personal attacks. Upon the open meeting law, council cannot engage in a discussion on issues presented, but may respond to criticism and may direct staff to follow up with the speaker directly or place the matter on future agenda for council discussion. There's a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. And my first one's over here, be Mo.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. And just want to bring to you guys' attention this. I have been working on a project almost over a year and a half. The goal is a safety issue on Highway 88. The traffic is, speed limit is 50 miles an hour, and the traffic is going a lot faster than that, especially in the daytime. And working with the ADOT, have several meetings with the ADOT they can put a crosswalk for the horses or horse community, because several times there was a really close call. And then I joined the Superstition Horsemen Association with the Durrell Cross, and all those people helped quite a bit on it. We did the videos and pictures and all that stuff, sent it out to ADOT, and they liked it. And finally, they got approved by the 2 or 3 different stages. Design programs and all that stuff all went through. And now I received a phone call from last Friday from them. They're going forward with that. First of all, they're gonna do the traffic study. Then they change their mind, they're gonna install the cameras. Then they decide we cannot install the cameras. We need to see the footprints on it, how many horses, how many people are crossing. We gave them the busiest times, what times, especially on the weekend from Thursday to Sunday, how many horses. Especially we have a Sunday, there's a lot of traffic, a lot of horsemen go to the museum and church and all that stuff on horses. We have a lot of traffic going on. And we're trying to protect that one. And then now they are sending people for 2 hours a day, and they're gonna come and do the study on it. And what they are planning on to have a post when the horses come in, while they are on a horse, they can push the button over there, and the lights, they can install the lights start blinking and give a signal, and the traffic stop and slow down, and all the horses can cross the road. And hopefully this will go through, and looking for a council's and city recommendation, or maybe letter or something to send. We can give it to me, or I can provide the email. Somebody contact me, and then we can send it out, the letter. Our city of Apache Junction and council and the people want this one, because Scarsdale used to call the horseman country, horseman town, and western town. I think we have more horses, more people, more community. We are looking for their safety, and hopefully that you can give us a recommendation that we can accomplish that goal for our horse community. Thank you.
Thank you. Donna Carr?
I'm Donna Carr, an Apache Junction resident. And there's 2 things I want to bring up. One is I'd like to find out if the council can put it on their agenda. As far as Guadalupe and Meridian area, there's an aerial view that shows that area has cancer-causing agents, and I mean, you can't tell them to stay behind the wall. Cancer-causing agents are going to do what they want. And the nearest water supply from that area that I know of would be probably just a little over a block away for the Arizona water. So whether it's going to get in the water for us that comes out of our tap, I'm not sure. I can't say. But I think that it needs to be brought up, and the council needs to discuss what can be done about it. And just to say, I ride dirt bikes, rode dirt bikes with my kids, and as they say is, oh, you're kicking up dirt over here, so we need to move you out to mile marker 203. Oh, wait, you're kicking up dirt there, we need to move you out to mile marker 207. So whether you can move them out, and with the aerial view, it shows that Phoenix does not have any cancer-causing agents. But these ones show up on our aerial map just like the ones in Globe for the mining. So it's just something to look into, and I would appreciate it if you do. And the other thing is I noticed just in 2 days' time, I was getting ready to go on the freeway, and there was an accident already on the 60 at the on-ramp at Ironwood. And then today I was on my way back, and there's an accident just this side of Signal Butte. So I don't know when you plan on widening the 60 or how that goes about, but that might also want to be talked about. Thanks for your time.
Mr. Schroeder?
George Schroeder, 244, West Virginia. Today, as I'm told, you have a big problem, a really big problem. I got 2 permits with a site plan Rudy tells me the first 8 houses, most of the houses in my little Haven Hollow are 20-foot setback, automatically recorded setbacks. The last couple of days, my neighbor across the street puts up a big privacy fence, completely private, 4 feet in front of her house, so she can hide the code that she got coded on, which is hiding all her stuff in her carport with a roll-up shade over it, which is illegal. Okay? It's illegal. But now Rudy's telling me there's nothing they can do about it. They won't go on the property to see if it's 20 feet when he already told me it's automatically 20 feet when I did my site plan. It's recorded in the recorder's office, so why not go to the recorder's office to see if it's 20 feet? Okay, so this laziness, this ineptitude, is prompting some other serious issues, a lot like what happened with Mr. Mahmood. All this stuff with planning and zoning and city council, 5 years now. But crap was caused by the city and not Mr. Stearns. His part will be thrown out of this lawsuit. I am going to make sure of it. But you got another problem now. Because if I go with Mr. Mahmood, that lawsuit isn't going to be for 20 million, folks. It's going to be for a lot more. You've done this on purpose. You did it to me. You did it to the wrong person. Big mistake. So code enforcement is really not doing themselves very good, are they? We've got people with trash being protected by city council members and staff members. And it's on record. It's on record, okay? So we got to get rid of these people. You say you want to get rid of these people. Well, today Rudy just kept one of them in my neighborhood, simply to piss me off. I'm telling you right now, that's a big mistake. Big.
Darrell Cross.
Good evening, Darrell Cross, 1018 North Acacia Road, Apache Junction. I'm the chairman of the Superstition Horsemen's Association, and that is why I'm here tonight. Superstition Horsemen's Association, in conjunction with the Hitching Post, and in continuing the celebration of our founders' centennial, we're putting on a first annual Superstition Pony Express. We will be starting off right here out front in the parking lot from City Hall. And as you can see on the map, we're going to be coming up Idaho, across Teepee, over to Meridian, up to P&M Arena, continue past P&M, on up further past McKellips, over down, back along McKellips, eventually making our way over to the Goldfield Ghost Town. From the Goldfield Ghost Town, we'll be coming back to the museum. From the museum over to Prospector Park over to the rodeo grounds. And then as one great big group, we will be coming down Lost Dutchman to the Hitching Post to hand off the mail that we've collected to the postmaster here in town. These are two examples of the postcards that we're going to be, that we are currently selling. We'll have a booth set up at Lost Dutchman Days, and come on out and visit our booth, buy some postcards, mail them off to your friends and family. We've had the Hash Knives in the past have had postcards go all the way over to Europe, and we're hoping to have some similar type activity with ours. We also have a special cancellation on a for all these postcards, the cancellation stamp will be issued by the post office. And we'll also have special cachet envelopes that are for kind of a keepsake thing that collectors of stamps would want, and we're selling those as well. So if you have any questions, contact me after the meeting, or look us up when we're out selling. So,
Daryl, can you move the top postcard? The light's hitting it. There you go.
so if you have any questions, hit me up
Your
after
Honor?
the meeting. Thank you.
Your Honor, can we have Daryl tell us what's the price of the postcards and the cachets?
Yeah, I still have 24 seconds. Yeah, the postcards themselves are $5 each, and the cachets are $10. So
Is that you on that postcard?
that is me on the postcard, and that is April that I'm riding. And then on the bull rider down here, that's that's Colton from Apache Junction. He's our world famous rodeo person here. Thank you.
Does council have any requests for staff to follow up on?
Your Honor.
Yes.
Matt, if we can look into the crosswalk that Mo and the hitching post are working on. I was out there over the weekend and had a chance to talk to some folks who frequently ride their horses and stuff down 88. I think it would be a great opportunity for council to get behind in the city, to get behind to help ensure safety is going on for everybody that's involved in that whole neighborhood. So,
Anyone else? Okay, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.